All right, welcome to the Trigaladian Times, as I know it, the clusterfuck. We have a returnee guest this time around, and another returnee and a new friend. We have Alexia Card from Noir,
Hi, everybody.
my co-host Kylon.
Hello.
We got Reece from Strybog,
Hey there.
and Tim.
Hello, friends.
So, kind of want to do this. Everyone's probably been paying attention to the fun of Reddit or people's discords blowing up, sharing all the road to Fanfest update clusterfuck that's going on, which is fun. I like some of the changes. Some of them are kind of head scratching about. So let's kind of go into. We'll cover the stuff none of us really care too much about. New air thing for players to learn how to mine. I mean, cool. Mining's not that hard. I don't get it. I think they could have come up with something better than um, learn how to mine. That's pretty straightforward and simple.
Well, hopefully it's more like uh, some kind of narrative or way to make mining a little bit more engaging. Show players how to make a little bit of initial money in a way that doesn't bore them to death.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it kind of says. It's got a storyline to it. So I mean that'll be helpful, but it's mining. Just know what crystals to use.
Not the most complicated gameplay, especially when you're first starting out.
Mm-hmm. Reflecting in space. They're going to do another update to improve reflections on ships, which, I mean, I like it when I can play on performance mode. I mean,
Yeah,
on
cool.
on performance mode, not performance, quality mode.
Oh yeah.
When I got
Yeah.
6 tunes up and running, I'm in potato mode, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Eve looks pretty good.
Mhm.
So, I'm always a fan of them keeping that up to date and making more improvements.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Every time I roll back from potato mode and I'm just flying with my main, I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. Want to rub my face on the screen.
I normally
Um,
run three clients at full quality, and I won't say it doesn't give my computer a workout, but for the most part, it works as long as I'm not on grid with several hundred people fighting.
yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. I could run 4. The second I fire up a 5th one, my computer actually just locks up. So we'll see if that change forces me down to 3, but whatever. I mean, I always like them keeping it pretty. Who doesn't? I mean, Eve is awesome to fly around and see cool stuff in. So, Guardians Gala is ending what in 2 days? I think it ends on the 22nd,
Yeah.
and then we get the string of fun stuff of Friendship Week, the hunt. So all you hunters, get ready to steal people's stuff from their pods when you kill them, and then Caps Lead Day. Let's see. And I think that's
Yeah.
it for the tiny stuff. None of us
There's
really
this
spoke.
this Poco change.
I was going to get into that. Pocos.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
that's going to be fun and interesting. Maybe Omega and friends won't have as many Pocos up anymore because getting rid of going from 10,000 EHP to 500, 10 million EHP to 500,000 EHP is that is
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
big.
that's
And
a
I think
huge bug.
the onlining delay is designed so that, it reduces the way you can currently just like ninja drop one
Yep.
on people as soon as one dies,
Yeah, that's
as a
annoying.
third party or whatever. Like this, at least, like if you don't control the field, yours is just gonna die before it onlines.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a change that needed to happen ages ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
more frustrating when you've clawed through 10 million hit points on one of those things. You win, everything feels good. You got your DST coming in, and somebody decloaks on the grid or whatever, and just
Yes.
snatches it away, and you have to go through the whole process all over again.
We've been
It was
doing
terrible gameplay.
Yeah, it is. It's not fun. I'm really excited for that. It'll be interesting for us people who live in Pokvin, and wormholes and stuff like that where Pokos are put up. But Pokvin's always hotly contested, so I feel there's gonna be a lot of Poko battles now.
Is there a Omega equivalent in Pachman?
No, kind of. Pandemic Horde's kind of moved in a little hard on some of it, but most people have stuff in their areas of space. I know Kybernauts does. Kylon and Reece. What about you guys for Toast and Strybog?
Oh
We got
yeah,
some stuff
it's
here
safe
and
to
there.
say we're well entrenched.
Yeah. Everyone's got their little area, but most people, I mean, the taxes are a lot of times not even there, so most people don't care.
Well, the idea is that you want it up and being able not to get gouged on taxes, so you leave it low so you don't get blown up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's interesting, yeah, but it's not Omega and Friends where one person controls it all.
Yeah. I don't think, for me at least, like the Poco change isn't going to affect my gameplay in any serious way, but I do, I appreciate when they update other people's gameplay too.
Yeah. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of war decking and destruction going on once that happens.
That means you don't need so much of an investment to take down a Poco in high sec.
Mhm.
Because think about the high sec mechanics you have to war deck, and it's going to take a lot of people coming together to take down 10 million hit points in high sec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I'm sure whole systems will get purged really quick.
Yeah, we've been having a Poco war into Newton for a while, and some of you may have heard of it. And the guys there have the taxes set just extremely high.
Yeah.
But well, we've been, we've been taking down their Pogos, but they'll warp on grid and drop a new one quicker than we can.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting, to say the least. Let's start getting to the other fun. This is the stuff that you guys, Alex and Ten, the Battleship update. Because you guys, well, I know Alex, you guys bash structures pretty good with your battleships. I'm excited for the increase in armor plates and shield extenders, and the reduction for large micro jump drives.
Yeah, it's a significant reduction too.
Yeah.
It's I think it's like 1300 some power grid down to like 800. So like that's enough power grid for another 1600 plate right there.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's the context to look at it in. It's not like Battleship's had any trouble fitting a micro jump drive right now. That wasn't really an issue that was on anybody's radar.
More headroom,
Yeah, well, I mean, the context of this change is you're going to see almost 100% battleships are going to be fitting at least 2 plates, at least 2 extenders. I mean, it's very reasonable to think we might see triple plated fits become more meta now with the amount of buff that they're getting. So they're going to need a little extra room for that. So we'll probably see the micro jump changes in the context of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, having a micro jump or a micro warp drive is still super useful. I'm not sure whether we'll see like just projection fits that can hit out to 100, 150, and then they just micro jump around, or if we'll see dual propping. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of leaning a bit toward the former, just because it seems to make sense min max wise, but it is convenient to be able to like get back onto a gate really fast and things like that.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be the former myself. I've seen what entire fleets with Typhoons with jump drives can do, and it scares the hell out of people when, all of a sudden an entire fleet of Typhoons moves 100 kilometers and starts dropping on something else.
Well, also something to think about is how much, abyssal rolls are going to play a part into this and how that market's going to spike most likely. There's somebody posting on r/eve that they had a 1 million hit point Abaddon.
They have to have had wormhole effects or something on it.
Yeah.
And I think you'll see that perhaps more in wormhole space, or maybe high end low sec. I think as far as like a null sec meta, or your average day to day gameplay in any area of space, really, you're not going to see people with high grade amulets with abyssal rolled plates on Tech 1 battleships and things like that.
Yeah.
I,
I don't
just
see that.
cost wise, it doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to definitely change the balance a little bit in terms of repairs as well. A full like heated nanite paste load in a large ancillary armor repair is now almost the same EHP or even a little less in some cases, depending, as a 1600 plate. So that fitting choice becomes a lot less clear, at least for like a lot of the gameplay I do, where like it's always been like you definitely put the Ansel armor repair on there because the EHP value of it is so high. But now that plates are getting buffed, it's going to be a much closer decision, and the armor repair has a much higher fitting cost than the plate. So there's definitely going to be cases where you get more out of doing a plate and fitting some other things.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, I know it's an old shack that we used to use, but we'd still think double plate and run at least one remote rep and a one remote capacitor repper, and still manage to squeeze a lot of random shit out of the shack just to do damage. But it'll be interesting to say the least, because I have a feeling a lot of triple plate is gonna happen. So
Yeah.
and I cringe every time I have to repair certain ships.
Yeah, I think especially if you're in low sec or in some other context like home defense in null sec kind of thing, where you have access to repairs quickly and easily, going full buffer is going to be a lot better than active repair.
Yeah. No, I agree with
Yeah,
you on that.
I've been looking, comparing some fits on CC and the main server, and it looks like on plated battleships, it's about 25% increase in hit points.
Makes sense.
Yeah, between the base ship hit points and the plate going up 50%, that's about right. Yeah.
Yep. The other thing that kind of pairs in with this is surgical strike. Getting 50% of what they took away back. So that's going to play a huge role too. EHP is going to spike on a lot of ships.
It's going to spike everything across the board.
Yeah.
In the context of the new plate changes, the battleships are actually not going to be probably as benefited from this change as some of their competitors.
Yep.
Because you got to imagine they're going to fit more straight buffer and less resists. So they'll still fit something. You've got to. You can't just go like 6 plates. That's not going to get the job done.
You can.
We can't actually on an Abaddon or something. That might be a thing. But realistically, they'll probably fit 1 to 3 resistance mods or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And they'll get the benefit from that. But I think things like tanky hacks will probably get a little bit more of this bonus. Yeah, man, it's gonna be so interesting.
I don't know. I think hacks actually are going to benefit less from this than T1 stuff because they have such high base resists that they're less reliant on the resist mods to achieve the resist they're looking for, or using specific hardeners for a single resist that they have a hole in, like you see T2 Galente stuff almost always has something to fill that explosive hole. But I think T1 stuff that's using a lot of multi-specs and things like that are going to benefit a little more.
Yeah. No, I can agree. I'm interested to see it roll back, because when I was not playing when Surgical Strike came out, so one of my long breaks. So coming back and seeing how much resistance was lost, and seeing at least some of it come back, it'll kind of feel nice for me. I don't have the
Oh,
rage.
wow.
I don't have the rage some of you guys who played through it when it happened about it. So, I mean,
Well,
yes.
the thing with
Yeah.
most of the hacks is that seeing a double-plated hack, for instance, double-plated zealot or double-plated sacrilege, is extremely rare because of their fittings. So most of the time, you're not going to be fitting like one plate triple damage mod to a hack because you need that a certain amount of EHB or resist to make that concept work. I think that's going to be extremely true now that we've got the battleships coming back into the meta here. You're going to need enough to survive in sig tank. I think micro warp driving, kiting, hacks are definitely going to have a lot of challenges with the battleship meta that's evolving here. They're going to need a little bit more mobility in like a sig tanking concept instead of just micro warp driving around and hoping that their alpha and rate of fire is going to beat the battleship's rate of fire and alpha, because now it's going to take a lot more hacks to alpha that same battleship, and the chance that that battleship is going to catch reps has gone up dramatically in terms of medium to large fleet fighting. So hacks are still going to be fitting those resistance mods. I'd say at least 2 per ship, if not more. And because the resists are already really high, stacking things on top of that is not great. So when you're getting a little bit more per each thing, it can actually increase your survivability dramatically.
Yep.
Now, I mean, 10 does make a good point in that. I mean, it's resistances. Every ship's got resists. Hacks have a lot of base resists. Battleships do not. Battleships are still going to be fitting resistance mods to try to make up some of that gap. I think just the relative value is a little bit more favorable for the smaller ships there, and they're going to have a competitive advantage. One of the few competitive advantages versus the new battleships is that instead of just buffer, they're going to have sustainability under reps.
Yep.
So they're going to, I would expect, probably need to optimize for that a little bit more than they're doing now.
Yeah, and that's kind of the big question, right? Is like, is this enough to tip the meta on the larger end of the scale from Munins to battleships? TBD.
Yeah. That's big DVD. Like,
For
who knows what's
certain
gonna
large
happen.
groups, probably not. I mean, if you can field enough Munins to alpha strike the new battleships, I don't think
Right.
there's a compelling reason to change away from that.
Mhm.
But I think the number of people that can do that has dropped dramatically with this patch.
Yes, I think at anything less than fully mass scale, it's going to be a much tighter decision now.
Right. No,
Like your roaming fleet of like 50 Serbs or 40 Munins is not going to be able to do what they do now.
Yeah. No, it's going to change that meta a lot, which will be interesting. I mean, a lot of people complain about the hack meta, but I think this is kind of going to make a decision. Like, it's going to be a decision point. Like, do we all hop in battleships that can survive it, or do we try to counter hack back? Like, I think it's gonna shake things up, which I like to see. I like to see the meta
real
kind of.
question is, can it bring back the Shield Lashak?
Listen, the Shield the Shack is a serious thing in small gang. If you couple it with a remote tracking computer scimitar that's armor tanked, they just rep each other. The Shack shoots to 120, everything's glorious.
Oh wow, I always wondered if it was possible to get one
Yeah.
shoot out that far.
Just always ask a small ganger. They come up with weird shit, make it work.
It's terrible, expensive ideas, but they're really funny while they're happening.
Oh, you mean like the Amelia succubus that I found? That's like 4.2 billion ISK, and I was like, yeah, nope, I'm good.
Yeah. Someone gifted me a succubus with a 1MN afterburner that's basically, it's like 0.1 or 0.2 meters a second away from a perfect speed roll. And I just use this as an interceptor.
Yeah,
and it's
why not?
hilarious, but I would probably never pay for something like that myself. Makes a great gift though.
I built it sitting in Jeddah, and I was like, yeah, nope. I just watched the price keep going up and up. You small gangers come up with some wacky ideas sometimes. That's cool. Like I've taken some of them and adapted them to be cheaper.
Yeah, well, that's the the kind of fun of fitting at a certain point is like a lot of parts of the fitting meta are fairly solved. Like we all know what an oracle fit looks like. We all know what a caracal fit looks like.
Mhm.
But when you can dig up something like really esoteric and make it work because it's such an edge case, that's fun.
Yep. All right. I know this one. I don't know about you, 10, but I know, Alek, you'll be dealing with this a little bit with your contracts. Structure updates. I know they're very vague on this. I didn't look around too much for it, even though I own structures. Kind of curious what falls from the tree, if it's going to be easier or what they're actually going to do to deal with structures.
Yeah, that's something they have offered no details on anywhere that I've ever I've seen. Aside from that, they're taking that sort of group Reddit posts from the majority of large scale FCs all saying like fighting on and around structures is kind of shit.
I'll be
So
surprised if they take it 1-to-1, but every
yeah,
indication we have is that whatever changes we see are going to be heavily influenced by, if not almost completely influenced by that post.
yeah, I think generally their goal is going to be to make fighting structures and fighting on structure grids feel better, but how they're going to do that, they have given us no hints.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's super vague and it says April, so I'm kind of curious what they're going to do. It, it'll be interesting, to say the least.
I think the most interesting thing to think about is it seemed like there might be more to come on structures at FanFest. So I think whatever we get between now and then, we're going to have to keep an open mind about what exactly it means, because it sounds like there's going to be a part 2 coming out about a month to 2 months later. And yeah, who knows what that means exactly.
Yeah.
I would expect the initial patch or the initial update to be perhaps more combat focused, and maybe the FanFest is something a little more comprehensive. I think that makes sense, but we really don't. I mean, to Ten's point, we really don't know. It's all kind of general right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little vague and very general. Uh, Blueprint changes. I know, Reece, you're going to want to get into this a little bit. They want to change things around, so we're going to be changing blueprints around. Um, Probably because no one's flying anything that's expensive with the way things went.
I mean, it's just like anything else. Is when it gets to be a really cost prohibitive thing and you can just mass produce something else, why invest so much into something that's harder to make? And the hardest part is making that one thing I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it requires gas, and gas right now is still hard to farm, and not a lot of people do it.
Well, hopefully, they're introducing gas compression with these mining changes coming in, so hopefully that'll loosen
Oh
that
yeah.
bottleneck a little bit. But tweaking the blueprints is also relevant to me in particular. The faction blueprints right now, no one's building them. That's why
Yep.
the price of a lot of pirate cruisers and battleships is so high, is because it's you buy them for LP or you don't have them at
Yep.
the moment.
Now, I don't really build these, so one thing I guess I'll ask you is, doesn't it require specific gas from that part of space to make that pirate ship of sorts?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at industry. I just am aware of the prices of various pirate cruisers because I happily will play around with cinnables at 100 mil or even 200 mil, but they're like 350 now or whatever they are. It's just like this price is not worth what I'm getting out of this ship.
Yeah. Faustin in chat just said pirates take 2 races gases to make them.
Ugh.
So it's
And
probably
that's
the
hard
2
because
associated. Yeah.
so you've got two different parts of space you need to go to, get into low sec or null, grab that gas and get out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully, with compression making it easier to move it around, because I know some of the more industrial-minded people I know have said that like a big part of that is that gas is really bulky and you have to react it locally and then move it.
Yeah.
If you can move it first and then react it, hopefully that'll free up some, just some fluidity in that market.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can just drift right into it. The compression changes. I've been reading it way too much over the past couple hours before the show. Just because some parts, it's like, okay, I gotta backtrack and reread this section. It's total like I had to wrap my mind around it. That I mean, it sucks. Like mining mercoxit, you're not going to be able to compress it as well as you used to. But I did that outside of Pockvin because I don't have a structure to take it to, and I'm not transporting lots of ISK gate to gate for no reason. But everything's doing. It's no longer 10-1. 100-1 when you compress. It's 1-1. But you're compressing ore and moon ore 100-1 ratio wise for the size that it takes up, the space it takes up. And then ice and gas is 10-1. So you'll get the like instead of doing 100 Veldspar to 1 compressed, it's 100 Veldspar to 100 compressed. But
it's a really weird thing.
Yeah, they standardized it, which kind of sucks because I kind of like the variability. But it's 1-1, and you still need 100 compressed to refine it. It's just the size, the volume size has changed.
So it's basically just a packaging change.
Yep. Basically, like you're taking like some of the numbers that came out is like, yeah, it's about this. You get some of them, the size is actually reduced from what it currently is with a kind of standardizing ratios, but it's just weird that compressing isn't taking 100 and turning it into 1, and kind of doing that stuff. It threw me off quite a bit.
Well, they did make one good change on that with the compression, the portable compression.
Mhm.
Is originally they were only going to give moon compression to Rorquals.
Yeah.
But now they're giving it to Orcas and Rorquals. And I see that as a good change overall.
Yep. I moon mine hard, so I know how that goes. I really wanted this for a while. So I'm really excited that that's going to come into play. Gas, yes, compression is cool that we're going to get it, but you cap out once you when you start reprocessing it or decompressing it, whatever the fuck they want to call it. It's the max you can do with a Tatara and max skills is 95% refining. So 5% loss, it's not bad to be able to transport a little bit easier.
Yeah, there is a bit of a loss though with the decompression of gas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something, but I guess that's the trade-off for being able to compress it and move it.
Yeah.
The good news is
that loss is coming in because there really isn't a gas refining equivalent, so they have to put loss in at that step.
Yep. Yeah.
No. Well, there's also the fact that you're looking at you can compress gas with a porpoise now. So day tripping into wormholes is going to be viable, getting that gas and getting out. The only thing is it takes a while to harvest gas.
Yeah.
It really does.
But that's the thing.
You don't need 900 trips to get it out of the wormhole.
Yeah.
This is true. Can't hate on that.
Reece, you know how it goes mining in Pockvin. I'm excited about compressing all the abyssal ore because I think whenever I mine hard in a home field, it would take me anywhere between 12 and 18 jumps through the wormhole to get all of my stuff out with a miasmos.
Now,
Like
I want you to think about this, though. Think about this, though. The fact that you can probably put I'm sorry, not trillion, but like a lot of ore into an orca. So much ore that it would be more than well worth the gank.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just grab and go with a couple of DSTs.
Yeah, that's the one plus side. Like, and I like that it's remote too. So if you're boosting, if you got your your core running and you have your module running, people can just compress it in their, Prospect or Hulk or whatever the hell they're flying. They don't
Yeah.
have to drop it off at the Orca or the Porp or the Rork. And the ranges
And
are ridiculous that you can get them out to.
can mining is much more viable now because they're doubling the cans.
Yep.
So you can have them compress it, chuck it in a can, and you can use the tractor beam and you're good to go.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
can stay on fields a lot longer,
Yep.
which is a good thing, especially for Moonor. Moonor is just a pain, it's so big and you've got so much of it to mine out when you've got a long pull going. So it should make
Yeah.
a lot of things better.
I know that. Like, I do 28-day pulls on my moons, and right now with my 6 accounts, if they're all mining, I actually have one of my characters just fly miasmos, so my Orca and 4 mining barges can just stay on grid and never leave. Just keep the mining constantly going. But
I think with my skills that I have right now on the main server, I was testing it on CC with an Orca. I could have somebody compressing at like 140 kilometers away.
no,
That's just ridiculous. That's further than
um,
boosts go.
yeah, it's max skills. For a Rorqual, its base is 144, maxed out it's 216. Orca starts at 83 kilometers, maxes out at 125, and Porp starts at 44, maxes out at 66.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That gives
So,
you a lot of flexibility on being able to have people on different parts of the field at the same time and being able to manage it.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting. I'm excited for the changes, but I'm also kind of like, man, I got a shit ton more crap my fleet boss for mining has to train now.
Yeah, and here's another thing. If you aren't doing the gala now, you need to do it and get those pieces from the data sites, I think it is,
Yep.
and turn those into books. Because
Yep.
those books are going from anywhere from 70 million up to 270 right now in Jeddah.
Yep. I still think it was funny seeing like some of the random stuff with returning the ore pilots to ore or the scientists. Oh
And
yeah,
apparently some people are not returning them.
yeah.
According to
Or
CCP.
yeah, because CCP. I mean, it's not CCP. E pilots like to keep random weird shit. I love
Sorry, I
seeing
can't take you home. You've become a collector's item.
exactly. You're a collector's item now. A billion ISK isn't worth me to turn you in. Yeah,
Well, who knows what you might be worth 6 months from now.
exactly. We all do strange things. That's the great thing about like anyone that plays Eve. We all have like weird, fun little quirks. Like I collect every ship.
So someone I know who's kind of stepping back from the game gifted me a ship the other day, and when I accepted the contract and then I looked at the ship, and there's his corpse, my corpse, and a mutual friend of ours corpse in the ship hold. I was just like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's just some icing on the cake for that dump off
Yeah.
of a ship.
Yeah, it's just going to help you with your blood raider,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're pretty bad in Kybernauts. We all want all of Opus's alts corpses. We want
Well,
every
that seems like
Opus
a
Magnus
reasonable
corpse.
goal. There's a set, you got to complete it.
Yeah, like 16 active characters right now. I think he said he maxes out at 21. A couple of guys who have a few of them. So is that mad dash. So let's kind of keep this rolling a little bit. The crab season stuff. I don't know if either of you guys have hop dropped on. Yeah, I figured they'd be under the umbrella. No one's gonna try and hot drop on something doing it.
I haven't even seen one.
Yeah.
I've seen a few. They did change it so that the rats, kind of focus on the ships running the site and don't immediately switch like normal site rats do to anyone attacking that ship, which I think I think the normal AI puts a high value on E-War. So if you come into a site where someone's doing PvE and use a point or a scram on them, suddenly you've jumped way up the aggro chart and the rats switch to you. But these crab beacon rats tend to stick to the capital ships, which is nice because they'll just fucking murder you.
Yeah, yeah, because they're decreasing that. Yeah, they're what, decreasing the blueprint LP cost.
yeah, less
Yeah,
cost to make the beacon and more reward for running the site.
yep, yeah,
I guess
more.
assume that means people aren't running them as much as they were hoping.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. And then, can't believe they're doing this. The Rorqual hot drop.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see what exactly they allow. If as it says in here, it's only mining ships near them.
Yeah,
Fine, it's just moving your whole. You've got a Rorqual and 10 Hulks, and you're just jumping them from moon to moon.
yeah,
Quality of life, whatever.
I don't know. I'm pretty worried about it because I think it's a great way to just get out of jail free card for your mining fleet.
hmm
You don't even have to work to the Athenor now.
True.
You just conduit to whatever open Sino you've got.
Yeah, jump to the Keepstar next door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to put in. I mean, they've said they're gonna do something about abuse, whatever they understand that to be. But there's gonna have to be some kind of timer if you've actively mined recently that you don't get to go.
Yeah, they'd have to figure something out. I mean, I think it'd be good for, like, I don't know, like any of the big blocks that all of us love to shoot their people whenever we get a chance. Like the big blocks, like, yeah, they'll probably be using it just to move their fleet from one moon to the next, and just gobble them up, which is cool. It makes standard living better, but it's also kind of shitty for hunters to catch and hold if they don't put something in that could stop the abuse.
Yeah, if there's no timer like Alek was saying, then local spikes up and you just jump out.
Yep.
Rorquals are safe forever.
Hey, which none of us like that. I want things to die, even if it's my own ship. All right, we kind of ran through all that stuff. I want to bring some things up really quick with Alek and Ten. I don't know how much time you spent in Thera. Thera was kind of quiet when we did our little deployment to there.
Yeah, Thera's pretty quiet. Except I'm sure until Guardian's Gala and the wormhole drop rate ends, Thera camps are hungry.
Yeah.
But it's not a lot of stuff happens in Thera. A lot of people move through Thera.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that said, we have seen some people running the sites successfully, no less. Just because people don't. Thera's kind of seen as a highway, not a place to hunt necessarily. So you might see some wormhole camping, but rarely do you see people checking the sites that are in the system, unless it's like on D.
I got totally murdered by wrong hole. We were in Fort Dreckovac, so I was like, it's we're fairly protected here. No, 9 Tengus dropped on me.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Or there's me being the asshole dropping on the lone venture with my Legion and blowing them up, and then I think Opus was with me, and dude Eve mailed Opus, what can I do better to mine in wormhole space? And he was like, just don't. Have a fleet. Don't do it in a venture. You're just gonna die.
They definitely almost died in a fire on the way back to Thera a couple weeks ago. A week ago? I don't know. Time's lost all meaning. But as we were getting to Thera, this giant Enyo fleet was coming out and like landed on the same gate I was on in an Oracle, which is not exactly a nimble ship.
Nope.
And my court mates provided a very effective response. And we ended up getting out losing only 1 malediction. But
That's not bad.
yeah, every now and then, you run into people transiting through Thera, and it gets pretty spicy.
Yeah, we've camped some gates and scared the shit out of some people in Thera, which was fun when we were out there. But we did use it like a lot of us kind of, we used it to base out of to just project wherever we wanted, which is fun. It was a little different.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what it's good for, really. Is you get the connections all over the place, and it's another part of the very high mobility that exists now in Eve.
So we had based in Providence a couple years back, and that was nice. We were part of Wrecking Crew. Got a lot of good content with them. Met a lot of nice people. But I would say moving to Thera from there is probably one of the best decisions we ever made for our corp. The fun level, the fun factor has gone up dramatically. The amount of great fights we're getting on more of a day-to-day basis as opposed to every once in a while when a ping goes out increased dramatically. And we've even used it for some of our mercenary contracts because if we're hired against a particularly like a multiple region situation, or we could be hired against several structures at the same time. If we're based in Thera, it's easy to get from one place to another. If it's multiple regions, the chance that you have a hole in or within 10 to 15 jumps of whatever you're looking to hit is pretty high. So it's given us a lot of great options for deployments.
That's why I live in Poachman. You can say the same thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I spend way less time traveling now than when I lived in high sec. We've got our Thera has a map. Poachman has a map now that we can usually take a look at a glance and see most of the wormholes, or at least a way to get to where we're going.
Yep. Yeah.
I think the one Thera update that needs to happen is it needs some Poachman connection. That'd be pretty dope.
That'd be interesting.
Thera
has one static to a random Poachman system.
That'd be interesting. I do know that
Oh, really?
There have been some very, very, very repeat offenders of wormholes into certain systems in Pochman. I mean, it's not super frequent, but like we keep seeing, I think it's like 4 or 5 systems consistently showing up into JSpace, and they're the same systems.
Oh yeah, one day we had a JSpace system with 3 Poachman wormholes in it.
Wow!
You could go to every cry through this one JSpace system. It was wild.
Is that considered a nullsec connection?
No, it's
like for static purposes.
No, our nullsec wormholes are different. We the F216 is the normal JSpace connection.
So it's a Pochven 2 JSpace type.
Yep.
Technically, it's from JSpace to Pochven, but
yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know there was a specific JSpace 2 Pochven type.
Yeah.
There's one that goes the other way too. There's an R081 that goes back the other way. It has no rats on it. It's the only wormhole that has no rats on it.
Yeah. I was actually talking to someone the other day about how I kind of think it's a missed opportunity a little bit that Poachman, none of the Poachman systems really are out in null, because the proximity extraction filaments, like if there was a Poachman system that you could proximity extract into drone lands, oh baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're certain to find a wormhole to drone lands. Almost all of them go there.
Yeah, but it just
But yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like if Poachman's base systems were a little more scattered, it would be really interesting, transit in and out. Though also possibly like the way you can jump into Poachman and then jump into HiSec, if you could go the other way, if you flew to the right system and went out to your home area of null, would be a little much, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then talk about that stuff. I kind of like. It's weird. I kind of like it and I kind of hate it. The Pochven and nullsec filaments not working in JSpace was kind of an interesting change. No more get out of jail free card.
Yeah, that is definitely something that you can kind of see what they intended it for, but also it's a little, I don't know, it feels a little clumsy.
Well, if I remember right, somebody from CCP replied in a thread talking about it on r/Eve, and they were talking about how they want to do a different kind of change to filaments, but the thing is that it's going to take more time to do, and this is like the Band-Aid fix.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right,
Something about a spool time was mentioned, but who knows?
A spool up time? That'd be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Let's say
that's
small gangers aren't happy for that.
if you can't combat scan someone down and catch them in 15 minutes, let it
suck.
go.
You mean when I get all excited this is pre-gates opening up, when idiots would get yeeted into Pokemon and just die because they couldn't gate?
Yeah.
And you'd kill them on the gate because they think they could gate, and it was locked behind standings and they couldn't do it. So, all right, we're kind of getting to the wind down point. Let's have the fun that I like to have, and favorite kills in the past, since the last show or last week or so, depending on how active you are in PvP. We had some fun a couple days ago yeeting out in a nullsec. First yeet failed miserably. Everything, we hop in system, everything docked. But we did stumble across a Myrmidon in Tribute. And I managed to kill that little bastard, which was fun. It's always fun killing Frat when they're, botting. I always say botting away, killing NPCs, but these guys weren't bots because we ended up getting like a 30-man fleet chasing us around after we killed the Myrmidon and an Ishtar.
Nice.
Nice.
I like it.
Yep. Alexi, or would you like a second to think?
No, I was just bringing up the kill board, so I had all the facts and figures in front of me.
I've got one ready to go here. I wasn't actually involved on this one. I posted it in Twitch chat here, but my corp mates got a random postman orca.
Ooh.
A rare postman orca, at random too, out of nowhere.
Yep. That's unless Saltier takes one out, then it's not that rare. It gets
So
a
we
little close to that.
A very fun Harbinger fleet the other day. It's not really a doctrine we run. One of my FCs just bought 2 billion worth of Harbingers and brought it in. Harbingers with T1 Executors and 1 Typhoon for extra damage. So I hopped in the Typhoon. It felt great to be king of the hill in that environment. We fought on an ESS against initially a bunch of Serbs, and then a Spectre fleet, Raptor fleet came in. So we brawled both of them at the same time. And no one even shot me the whole time because they were like, "No, we're not going to primary the freaking battleship. There's all this other fragile stuff around." So I'm just sitting there I'm cruise missiling everybody. I'm throwing newts out. My main job was making sure every module I had was active at all times. And it was for us, a pretty big brawl. It was 64 versus 17.
Damn.
And we managed to come out slightly. 1.7 bill killed to 1.15 lost. So it was pretty bloody. After we killed the Serb fleet initially, they reshipped to Drekovics with a Zarmazed for Logi. And that we could not break. And they had us pretty well tackled, so we went up losing most of the Harbs.
Yeah.
But it was a heck of a fight. Now, some of that 64 is reshipped, so it was probably more like 50. But
yeah,
still pretty insane. And I was surprised at how well the executors did. I'm learning to appreciate the Tech 1 Logic Cruiser a little bit more.
I believe it. Yeah, that sounds like a little bit of fun. Reece, you got anything?
Well, other than helping murder a shattered wormhole ice belt, which I love those things. They're just massive. I was going around in Pokemon, and I caught a horde sleeping on a gate. Got to pot him too. But that was nice. A free kill in just a quick amount of time,
Yep. Always love that stuff in Pokemon. Ted?
Yeah, we had actually quite a good roam in Catch, I guess a week or two ago now, we fought some of the locals. They brought an Osprey Navy fleet to fight us, and then they reshipped into a Typhoon and Guardian fleet to fight us again through their jump bridge as we were heading away. And we had some interesting engagements, and they were like happy to have a fight and chill and local, and it was nice.
There you go. All right. So everyone should, if they haven't already, I said this before Christmas when I had Alexion. Listen to Declarations of War. The podcast is the shit. Alexi, if you want, you can plug your
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely. So declarationsofwar.com is the website. It's Eve's longest running podcast. Been running it for almost a decade. No, actually, at this point, I think it'll be over a decade. Oh, it's just so crazy to think about. The next episode we release, we're going to have some devs on, CCP Paragon, CCP Burger, to talk about the new patch. So I've got a bunch of questions from their initial broadcasts on TIS, and hopefully there'll be some of the questions the audience out there has too. If you guys want to tune in to check it out, we've kind of developed a bit of a reputation for maybe not the live interviews because we don't record too often. It's every other week, but some of the harder hitting, in-depth interviews with our podcast format. So hopefully we'll really get into some stuff with them about these design decisions and what's going on with them, why, how they're going to fit into the larger meta. Hoping it'll be a really interesting discussion. So if you haven't checked it out, great entry points for the show that we've had recently. We had the Matani on, and then 2 shows later we had CCP Ratati on. Cannot recommend those 2 episodes highly enough. They were both very good and very timely. So if you want some great podcast content, check out declarationsofwar.com.
Then 10. You want to spit less than 10 at all?
Sure. We're also probably going to have some CCP devs on in the immediate future. I think CCP Swift and Aurora, who's moving from community team to game design, as I recall. We're going to talk about some of this patch stuff. We're going to talk about the Anger games, which is kind of winding up, the AT ships that just came out, that kind of stuff. So, should be interesting. If anyone is not aware, CCP Swift and CCP Aurora are extremely involved in the Alliance tournament, and very, very much have carried that rebirth. So.
Yep. I mean, I think it was like episode 4 or something of my show. Yes, I've only had 13 episodes. I'm not as cool as Alexi. I managed to ninja Swift and Aurora in to talk about getting the AT tournament back.
Yep, they're great guests. They're fun to talk to. So always look forward to that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'll do this just for Alexi, so I don't have to do it. You can plug Noir, your Merc. I love your plug. It's like the nice calm part of the episode. I'm like, okay, the next episode's starting.
We are looking for some good pilots. We've cut a lot of inactives and we had a few key people leave recently. So we're just kind of focusing on getting back to basics right now. If you want to enjoy not just less than 10 PvP, but sometimes a little bit more than 10 PvP, or working with like other highly skilled players to do stuff like high-end bomb runs and fights, or run a dedicated EOR ring to break up some high-sec Lashaks, or lock down a wormhole to prevent someone from getting evicted. These are all the kinds of contracts that we get. And because we're a Merc Corp, it's a unique opportunity for you to not just do this PvP, but also get a little bit of compensation for it. So not only do we have a great community of highly skilled pilots and a ton of FCs to, just have content all day, every day, but you can also grow your wallet through PvP. And if you're like me and you're not super enthused about EVE PvE, it gets real boring real fast, that's a really good option. So if you're into it, check us out. It's Cafe Noir in game, Cafe space Noir period. and I'm happy to field any questions. There's a link to our Discord, so you can come chat with us.
10, do you wanna end this in a bang? See if we can pull off another, live.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, you can start up.
It's not the size of your gang.
But how triangular it is. You guys stay safe, fly dangerous, mercs kill everything, Pacman needs to be dirty kill zone, and Roke Capel needs to kill Frat. The
That's
end.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Amen, brother.
All right, later guys.